Hello everyone, welcome to my channel if you're new, and welcome back if you're returning. I have another Watch Me Work here today. My client Jordan is back. So this video is going to be just a little different than usual. I'm going to be listing all the products that I use, all the products that are on my nail table and in view, and where I got them if possible on the bottom of the screen. So you'll notice that's probably different. I will also have this sped up. One thing I didn't list, I just realized here, is those little packs that you put your sanitized implements in. I got those at my local nail supply, but you can pretty much get those anywhere, order them on Amazon or anything. Anyway, Jordan is back. She's getting a full set, and the other thing that's different about this video is a lot of things are sped up, some things are slowed down, some things are the acrylic application in particular is sped up 1.5 times. And I'll tell you why. Okay, this video, okay, so here's what happened. Well, I'll tell you what happened in a second. Let's talk about what's happening on the screen. So I already pushed back her cuticles, and I'm removing the shine from her natural nail. I'm doing this, as you can see, I have this in real time, so you can see I'm not using any pressure. I'm literally floating this bit over her natural nail just to remove the shine. I might be aiming my bit in a direction, and I have it at a speed of 4,000, but I'm not going in on it because I'm going to go in around the edges with this bit and do most of the cleanup with this bit. Now you can see Jordan hasn't had any cuticle work done in a long time. It's been a while since. She is a returning client. She's an OG client, been to me many times. Love this girl. She hasn't been in a long time though, and whenever she comes, she she always has overgrown cuticles. I'm the same way. My sister was the same way. So I kept this in real time for the most part so I could show you guys how to handle this kind of thing. You know, I'm not the type that likes to use nippers, but sometimes you have to. So I'm going to show you the way a ball bit, the work a ball bit can do. So as you can see, I did all the work that I've done so far. I am now going to use this ball bit turned up at a higher speed. As soon as I start doing this, I ask my client, how does this feel? Does it tickle? Does it burn? Does it sting? And as I'm going, I'm watching that, of course, I'm keeping this off the nail plate. I'm not using any pressure because I have this turned up high. The pressure that I am using is kind of like in a pecking type motion. And once I get the thickness and the dead skin off, I just do a slim, like a light gloss over buff. But this is, if you don't want to nip cuticles, you guys, get a ball bit, especially kind of a larger one like this. I love these ball bits. I have several of them and I just love them. Look at this. This is doing the work of a nipper, and you don't have to. Now this can cut someone. See right here where I stop? Because I'm making sure I'm not getting into any live skin because it was a little stubborn. And I mean, you can cut your clients with any bit or file that you're using, so you always have to be careful. But I just wanted to show the work that this is capable of and how you don't have to use nippers. Now in this one, as I was trying to buff, I realized, okay, if I pull it down, I'm going to obviously be able to nip off that dead skin because it's just, you know, a strip that's hanging there that I can clearly see. I'm not going to cut her. So I did that on a few fingers, but I only showed this one just to let you see at what point I get the nippers out. It's only when I have literally a flap of skin hanging there like that, and you can see on the index finger, she has that same flap of skin, but I did not choose to use the nippers on that. I used the buffer. And again, I speak to my client the entire way through to see how they're feeling about it. She just kept right on telling her story, and it didn't faze her whatsoever. So that was great. So now I'm gluing on these tips that I listed at the bottom with some Young Nails brush-on glue. These are a straight square. She does not like any C-curve, and she doesn't like any coffin. She likes them to be straight and square, period. And I have the magnets in sped up on this hand, but when I go into the next hand, I do have them in real time, so you can see how awesomely fast it is to use these. Boom, boom, boom. I mean, the only thing that I think most people might not mention to you about using these is that you do have to not get them crooked, you have to line them up straight. As you can see, the magnet underneath the nail, if you have that tilted left or right or up or down, you're going to get a bad angle. You'll get the right length, but you might get a bad angle. So a couple videos ago, when I did the set on myself, the stiletto set on myself, I mentioned to you guys that I was going to start doing this again. This is a step that I always used to do, blending my tips. I stopped doing this a good year or more ago because I was really trying to figure out ways to cut down my speed. Now that I have my speed under control and I have my application under control and I do sets in about 2.5 hours consistently, unless we have, a removal, or I wouldn't say nail art because I don't really do that, maybe a more complicated set or more detailed set. Just a plain walk-in full set, long to medium length, is about 2.5 hours. Once I got that down, and I used to feel like I needed to get it down to 45 minutes or an hour, because that's what I thought I should be doing, because that's what nail shops do, which is not true. Ask any of your clients or anyone that you talk to, or go yourself. They don't do half of the steps that we do, like those of us watching these videos, those of us interested in doing nails properly. And it's not because they're bad nail techs, you guys. They are working for a boss, a salon, a manager who schedules them back to back. They don't make their schedule. They don't have an app where they get their clients book and they can block out their time or set aside 2.5 hours for each client or an hour and a half for a pedicure. They don't get that. They show up for work and their day's booked back to back to back to back. If they're not doing clients in 45 minutes, they're not going to be kept at that seat. They're under pressure. And that's, I think, also a lot of times, I've heard this from clients so many times, especially brand new clients. They will come see me, they've seen my Instagram, or a friend sent them, and they will show me an Instagram set. They'll dig through their phone, and you could just see them scrolling, and they'll dig up a picture they've had for 2 years and say, this nail set. I have asked every salon, every nail tech if they can do this set. I've been trying to get someone to do this sea turtle for 2 years. And it's just a gem with a few ball beads. It's not complicated. The reason these nail techs say no isn't because they can't do the work or they don't have the supplies or they don't want to. They don't have the time. So I don't know why I'm getting into that. Anyway, oh yeah. I quit doing this step when I was trying to cut down on my time. Now that my time's under control and I also feel confident with my e-file and my tools, it's nothing to do this step, and it really helps me. It helps me see the shape of the bit. I feel it helps the acrylic stay on the nail and not slide off as much. It has, a grip, a grab. I feel like it will help with retention. And it also just helps with shape. I have noticed many times where the tip meets the natural nail on the free edge up against the skin. If I don't blend that area, a lot of times if I'm trying to go thin with acrylic, I can see that through the acrylic, and no filing fixes that because that's under the acrylic. So you have to file the acrylic off to get to that mistake. So anyway, thank you, Ta Beauty. She's the one that, me watching her reminded me that I used to do this and that I should go back to it. So I'm going to keep doing this. That's 5 entire minutes talking just to explain that to you. All right, you guys. So she just wanted a purple and pink ombre, and she definitely had a different set in mind. She wanted a pink and purple ombre with a black Frenchie, but not a classic Frenchie. The kind of abstract outline Frenchie that you've seen that kind of goes all the way up the side. I think you guys probably know what I'm talking about. It's like a Frenchie, but with a wavy line. Anyway, she decided not to do that. She just wanted a simple ombre. Now, Jordan is an interesting girl. I have known her since I started doing nails, and she has been coming to me since then. She's one of my first OG clients. Her sets are on my Instagram from way back, and she comes whenever she has time. So this girl has a very, very interesting life story. I love sitting and talking to her. I admire her and her strength and her sense of humor and the way she is herself just all the time. She's just, her self-confidence is off the charts, and she's not arrogant though. She's just a pleasure and a delight, and she's funny, and she has no problem saying, I know I'm pretty, without sounding arrogant. Like, I just love that for her. You know, she's not one of those people that's like, yeah, I'm pretty. No. She's just like, yeah, I know I'm pretty, but, you know, I want to go to school. Like, she, you know what I'm saying? It's like part of a sentence. It's just, she has that confidence that I never had. I do now because I'm older and I've just gotten through life, but for her age, not positive exactly how old she is, mid 20s. She's got it going on, you know, maybe early 20s even. I actually am not positive how old she is. So, what Jordan does is she used to work at the T-Mobile next to the restaurant I worked at. That's how I met her. Because I told you guys before, I hustle up anyone I see wearing nails. I'm like, oh, can I see your nails? Oh, they look pretty. Oh, do you like your nail tech? Come see me. And usually people will say, I love my nail tech. It's my cousin. I'm like, well, she did a great job. Tell her she's doing a good job. Or they say, you know, I need a fill. I'd love to see you. Can you do, what's your work look like? What do you charge? You know, that's how I usually strike up conversations. And that's how I've gotten most of my clients. Jordan, this girl Jordan, Shantae, who's coming Friday, Bianca, there's another girl, Brianna. Haven't seen her in a while, but basically, you know, lots, unless it's word of mouth or someone I personally know, like my cousin or, you know, Kendra. I've known Kendra for a long time through a close family friend and work. And yeah, so, what was I saying? You guys, I'm sorry. Right. Jordan. So she was working there, and when she was working at T-Mobile, she told me from the get, when we first started having our appointments, you know, she kind of told me her life story, and which is extremely, extremely interesting. And she now, I haven't seen her in a while, and we haven't been able to make our schedules match. The last set she came for is on my TikTok and Instagram, like just as a set I did, but not a tutorial. This is the first time I've done a tutorial while she's in my chair. Anyway, she is now working for a college doing, I believe, admissions work. So that's her like Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. And she's also in school. She takes, she's getting her degree at the same college. So she works full time during the day. She's in college. She's got her own spot, you know, in downtown where she's just doing her life, which I love it. I love it. And she also has a nighttime job. So I don't know how many days a week she works at a club. Her nighttime job is working at a club, and I don't know how many nights a week she does that. But what happened during this set was, it was a Friday, and was it a Friday or Saturday? I can't remember. Yeah, it had to have been a Friday. She was working her 9 to 5. She rolls up in a new car, a brand new car I've never seen before. Oh my gosh, I was so excited for her. And it's just perfect. I'm so proud of her. So she rolls up in a new car. We start doing her appointment. She's telling me about her job at the college. They asked her to sing the national anthem for graduation because she's a baddie. So she'll be doing that. What? And she was telling me about her, she came from her 9 to 5. Okay. So she got off work at 5, and she's like, I'll be there about 5:15, 5:30. And that was the day before. Then the day of, she's like, hey, I'm on my way, but I got to stop and get gas. Okay. Well, I didn't know how far she lived, and she I guess didn't anticipate the traffic, so she didn't get here till almost 6. We didn't start actually laying nails till about 7 because we were picking colors, we were talking, we were doing, I don't even remember what, but it took almost an hour to actually start this application, okay? And by the time I got to, I can't remember, it was about 40 minutes in, because I looked at the video, the video that I took from when I started laying the acrylic until she left was an hour and 26 minutes. So halfway through, she tells me, Jen, I forgot. I have to be at work at 9. I have to leave at 8. That was 40 minutes from then. and I was still laying the purple. I hadn't even done the ombre or the clear or shaped. And I literally stopped. To have it in the video, you can see me basically jaw drop because my whole body stops, my hands go down, my brush stops moving, everything. And I said, I have 40 minutes? She's like, girl, I'm so sorry. I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know. I just misplanned. I don't know. I'm sorry. I have to go all the way home and I have to get ready and I have to be at work at 9. I'm like, you know what, girl? All right. Can you come back tomorrow morning? She said, yeah. I had to. Yes, it was Friday. I had to be at work Saturday at noon. And she was going to be working at the club till like 2 a.m. And she's like, I can be here at 8:30 or 9. I said, okay, let's do it. So this video was made in 2 parts. This one was an hour and a half of prep and application. And then when she came back, it was another hour of shaping, filing, top coat, and us chatting it up and stuff. So the video looks all in one to you guys, but it was actually 2 different days. And, I don't care. At worst case scenario is she would have filed them at home. She does her own nails when she doesn't come see me. Not acrylic, but like gel. She has a little gel lamp and stuff like that. Anyway, so yeah, that's what happened with this set. These are little foibles that happen. This is not the first time that happened. I had a client one time right in the middle of a set, and she'd been coming to me many times. She knew how long my nail sets took, and she always wanted a design, ombre, glitter, some different color on every nail. Oh, I stopped this here because I wanted you guys to take a look at how you can still see on the edge of the nails, how you can still see the tip, the clear edge of the tip, the very, 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 very clear edge of the side of the tip. Start watching that through the rest of the application and you'll see, because usually with darker colors or solid colors, you can't see that I'm leaving that tip, the edge of the tip, the very edge of the tip, that slim little line there, uncovered, because the colored acrylic just kind of prevents you from seeing that. But I always do application like this. I've mentioned it in another video, I think, but when I'm working with more of a, this purple was, the purple that I laid first was not jelly acrylic. It's not one of their candy coated line, but it was more sheer. So you are able to see the tip better, like a better outline of where my acrylic is at on the tip. So as we go here, I just wanted to show that area to you, to freeze that little frame and show that area to you so you can kind of know to watch for that and see how I really, really make an effort to keep my acrylic completely off that. And keep in mind, your first strike or stroke of your file when you're doing your free edge shaping is going to remove that slim little trickle of tip that's showing there, but it really helps me keep the acrylic off my sidewalls, keeping it off the tip like that, keeping that little bit of tip bare, because I used to think I had to lob it over and like curl it over, which would make my nails so wide. And especially on a straight square, it's really hard to keep your straight square shape straight and square all the way to the free edge when your cuticle is naturally just more narrow than your free edge. It's a hard shape. Doesn't seem hard, but it is. I'd rather do a stiletto than a square, to be honest with you, because that's straightforward. You can clearly see the triangle, the angle you need to be at, and you can clearly see the square angle too, but it's just not easy. Anyway, it's easy once you learn it, but anyway. So I did have that happen with another client before. She'd been coming to me for a while. Like I said, she usually got complicated sets, and in addition to getting complicated sets, they would normally be short. In addition to them being short, she was literally paranoid, and the first 2 appointments stopped me in the middle of applying to remind me that she did not want me putting too much acrylic on. I mean, when she first came to me, she had a set on from someone else, and I couldn't believe they were staying on her nails. That's how thin the acrylic was, like polish. I'm like, is this gel? No, it's acrylic. What? Like, because she had told her tech, that's too thick, that's too thick, that's too thick, thinner, thinner, thinner. So I ended up, teaching her and explaining to her and working with her about thickness, and they don't need to be thick. I think she was just traumatized from probably leaving the salon one time with some thick, ugly nails, and she ended up, coming literally every single 2 weeks for me. Every other Saturday she was in my spot with her 3 beautiful children. And we would spend about 4 hours together because I was still getting my time down. Yes, ma'am, 4 hours. And she wanted them short and she wanted them very thin, but she still wanted glitter in them. She still wanted ombres. She still wanted, she would come with crazy sets. And I would do it because, man, it was practice, Of course, she was a paying client. I don't mean, they were freebies. I'm just saying, like, I did it because it's practice, and I actually fell in love with this girl. Love her. Wish she would come back. I see her sometimes and talk to her still, but she just has a financial situation right now where she just can't come and get her nails done every 2 weeks, and she will be back when she can. Anyway, one time she was sitting here getting her nails done with me about 2 hours in. When, remind you, it was always a 4 hour ordeal back then when she was coming. That poor thing. 4 hours. She only had one of her daughters with her, and she told me halfway through the set, I have to go get my son. I dropped him off for a haircut, and the stylist just texts me that they're done. And I'm thinking to myself, well, no haircut takes 4 hours. So you had to know when you dropped her off. I think I might have just said him. Anyway, you had to know when you dropped her off that she wasn't going to be there 4 hours. Like, you couldn't have forgot. That just did not make sense to me. But I think she had a lot on her plate, and however she worded it, I don't know. But she literally said, I have to go. So she left with her nails half done, and some of them still wet, the acrylic, wet. And she came back a couple hours later, and we finished her set, which sucked for me a little bit because it ended up taking up my whole day, not just the first 4 hours of my day, but 2 hours here and 2 hours there, you know what I mean? And then the 2 hours waiting for her to get back. That was, a whole day thing for me, which, again, whatever. So yeah, that's happened to me twice where clients have had to leave and come back. And yeah, it's not ideal. What I worried about the most, to be honest with you, was not my time, was not being annoyed with the client, was not figuring out and wondering what the heck is wrong. What you do? You can't plan, you can't think, you come to me, you don't know. None of that. All that stuff enters my mind. But what worried me the most were two things. One, their nails would break because their structure wasn't, all the way done, or just that their nails would break, that they would come back with damage and I'd have to redo it. And the other thing would be people would see their nails in that unfinished state and be like, girl, what is on your hand? What's going on here? Anyway, so let's get into the set here. As you guys can tell, so what I ended up doing, this hand, I had to completely, the second half of the other hand that we just watched, and definitely this hand was when she told me when I started this hand, I had 15 minutes before she had to leave. So I decided to do these ombres in small wet beads, finger by finger by finger. If you guys don't know or haven't noticed, when you do ombres, it is very, very, very easy and beneficial to you to let your ombre dry and go back to it, because that way you'll be able to see where your brush strokes are. Did you get it all the way down? What does your blend look like? Because it's dry now. So instead of fiddling with the acrylic like a larger bead and holding it in place and waiting for it to polymerize and blending it down and watching and I just decided I'm going to do wet bead, and do 3 rounds of it, boom, 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 and then slap on my clear. On the thumb, I was even like waving my hand trying to get the acrylic to dry just a tad bit more so I could slap on the clear. Not because I couldn't put it on wet, but because the pink had just been laid, So this is a different way of applying, but that's because I had 15 minutes from the time I started putting the pink on till the time I was done with the clear layer. She got out of there, she went to work on time, and she came back on time the next morning, and we got into the filing, and she left loving her set, and she was really happy, and I loved the pictures. What I really loved in this one right here, that bead, I knew I flooded the cuticle, but I wanted to let it set because it was too wet. I knew if I sat there and brushed it off, that I was just going to have to keep brushing it off because it was still wet. So I figured I'll do this one, I'll go back. So that's why I'm doing it this way. When we get to filing, you guys, I was able to remember to pull my camera back to show you guys filing from the client's perspective when you turn the hand around the other way and file the free edge from the opposite angle so that you can see your shaping and free edge from your client's perspective. I actually got that on camera this time, so I'm going to try to do that every time, because I never did that before. Of course I knew, I can pull back my camera. Not only are you in the moment and you're just getting through the set so you don't think of it, but if you do think of it, you think to yourself, well, I can't do that, because then my client's face is going to be in view. Then that becomes a whole thing about privacy, because any clients that I record with already know, they subscribe to my YouTube channel and they watch my videos when they can, but they definitely watch their own videos. They know that the very first thing I do is delete the audio. Like, there's never voices in here unless there's permission given, so I would never show any faces like I did with Kendra just recently until we have a talk. So I've already thought, well, anytime I would pull back for that view, my client would be in frame. So I just never did it. So I was able to this time, pardon me. So I have talked through half this thing. I was able to get this down to like a 35-minute video, and I will jump back on. As you guys know, I'm sure I'll jump back on in about 8 seconds, but I'm going to let you guys watch and jump back on if I need to let you know about anything. Thank you guys for being here. Okay, I'm back. So for filing and shaping, I have this Zulays file. You guys, these files and not polished files are my favorite. This is a real good file, real sturdy. 80 on one side, 100 on another. The thing with files, you guys, that bother me is you have this big file. Look at all the area, all the space on this file. After this one use, you have to get rid of it. But there's so much left to it. The grit is barely touched. That's why I love those little containers from my nail store where I keep returning clients' files. Like, I might not see Jordan for 6 months. She still has her little container, So Jordan does not like a C curve, so it was hard to not get a little C curve there on the pinky because of the narrowness of the nail. But as usual, I'm going in and thinning out the free edge, and I'm going to seal the cuticles. And this bit I've had for a real long time. I just forget I have them, and when I open up one of my bit cases, I saw it, and I was like, oh yeah, I love this bit from a cart. And I have my e-file in view here, so you guys can see I'm at a speed of 11. And what else? I jumped on because I was going to tell you guys something else. Oh, the condition of my nails and my hands. You can see the cuts. This is from working at Target, from swiping things across the conveyor belt, and from bagging, and the contraption that holds the bags, and the unit that I stand up against that holds the conveyor belt and the scanner. There's all kinds of metal lips and rings and things on that. Like right now I'm looking at my hand, there's a scratch, like a cat scratched me from my knuckle up past my wrist. And I have that skin that you probably notice your grandma or grandpa having when they get older, that's real thin, so if you barely knock your skin, you start bleeding. It's just ridiculous. So yeah, I have these little scratches and gouges all over my hands, so please excuse that. Also, if I'm not at work, I'm doing nails or unboxing or editing videos, so I've just been busy. I've got to get to my nails very soon. The polygel is flicking and flaking off, as you can see. On some of my nails, it's just not even existent. It's like come off. My cuticles are dusty, crusty. some of the polygels lifting on the edges and just ew. Um, I wear gloves for several reasons, for sanitation, for aesthetic while I'm doing the videos, and because sometimes my nails are trash. So please forgive that. And I wanted to make sure, especially since she came back for a whole nother appointment, essentially a whole nother day. You know, a lot of times you guys, I don't know if you guys experience this, but when you're doing someone else's nails, you already have this feeling of, not that they're making you feel this way, but you have yourself under pressure for time, right? And you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, it's already been an hour and 45 minutes, or it's been 2 hours. I've got to get them out of here, and I've got to get this shape right. So you go quick, and you might not give the client the best shape of your life because you're trying to not keep them in your chair so long. You start feeling bad that they've been sitting there for so long, and you think they're, even whether they are or they aren't, you think they're looking at their phone like, God, is she done? Is this the last step? And I think that I probably traumatized myself back in the day, like with my 4-hour sets. And sometimes 5 and 6 hours, you guys, with really long encapsulated this and that sets. Yeah, 6 hours, I've done that. So I'm really, really an ogre about my time and managing it. So I get obsessed about getting the best shape I can in the best time I can. But because she came for a whole separate appointment that was just for shaping, I felt like I had as much time in the world to shape these, which is why I think they came out so nice. The free edge shape from the side, the tip and underneath was so crisp. Her cuticles, I couldn't believe when I saw the of course I'm looking at them, but when I saw the finished pictures like later that evening, I was like, wow, look at her cuticles. Like, I'm not bragging, I'm just saying, like, we have times when we know we slayed a set, and I love the way these came out. And I told her too, you're not leaving till this shape is right. Since you came back for a whole nother appointment, girl, like, there's been times when, because she always gets this length or longer, and she always gets no C-curve square, it's hard to not make those look boxy, you guys, especially if you have someone with a wider nail bed like she has. I was surprised. Her thumbs, to me, whenever she's come to me before, her thumbs and middle finger just look so wide, and I just feel like I can't fix it or do anything. Not this time. Her thumbs were crispy, and I just was super duper happy with this set. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can let you guys know about. Oh, the only thing that's coming up that I want you guys to notice is, if you guys follow or watch V Nailed It, I'm sure a lot of you do. I do. I definitely have. Huge influence for me, huge inspiration to me. She works with, many brands, but she turned me on to Not Polished. She turned me on to Profiles Backstage, Tammy Taylor, Kiara Sky, monomers, just all kinds of different things. And look at that shape. Love it. But I noticed not too long ago that, and I years ago have, since for a couple years, wow, get it together, Jen. For a couple years now, I've been ordering the Goddess, the name of the scent, the cuticle oil from Profiles Backstage. The scent is called Goddess, and it's a dry oil, and I love it. It smells really good, but mostly it's good for pictures because it really hydrates the nails, but it's a dry oil. Look at this, you guys. Her cuticles, the cuticle work, the shape. Like Nailed to the Hustle said in one of her videos, cuticle card did not decline on this set. What was I saying? Oh, here's another thing you guys can get. I'll talk about the cuticle oil in a second. How, if a client is leaning on the armrest, it slides across the room. We were trying to get the right angle for her thumb. She's so cute. She stuck it all the way through. I love clients, how they're just like, for the nail set, they'll contort themselves any old way. And you should see how I'm sitting for this. I'm bent all low down, like my eyes level with the nail. It's funny. You guys are going to get a cute little glimpse of Jordy. What was I saying? Right. The cuticle oil. So I've been using that dry cuticle oil called Goddess from Profiles Backstage for a while now. I've reordered it several times. I noticed recently that V did a collab with them where she has a scent of her own called Sweet V. So naturally, the last time I ordered from Profiles, I got that scent. I showed it to Jordan. We were sniffing it back and forth, back and forth. I can't smell it. I want to know if any of you guys have the Sweet V scent of Profiles Backstage cuticle oil, the collab they did with V. And I want you to tell me if you can smell it. It had no smell to me. I could not smell it, and neither could Jordan. I'm a smoker, so I thought maybe I just couldn't smell it. She's not. We went back and forth with it, and we could definitely smell the Goddess, could not smell the Sweet V. So let me know if you guys know about that. So we're coming into the finished look here. We're going to be into the finished little shot and video. Right here I'm just overlooking the set. I am going to wipe the cuticle oil off of the actual nails so they don't look oily in pictures. And I always do a finish file when they come out of the lamp so the edges aren't rounded from the gel. And I want to thank you guys for being here. Thank you for watching. And I will talk to you guys later. And see you next time. Bye.